Hey y'all, welcome to Fixin the Garden. You know, sometimes you don't know what you want until you see it. So this year, before you spend a single dime on plants, let's take a minute and plan it out. If you're in that planning phase because it's cold outside and you can't get in the garden, so you're making sketches and going through books and trying to figure out what it is you actually want, then this is the video for you. I'm going to show y'all an app that we're going to use that can take your real photos and turn them into what they can be. So I'm going to be using a friend's photo of their yards, and I'm going to landscape it and show them what it can be before they even plant a thing. So let's plan it and then we'll make it happen. This video is not sponsored by GardenPuzzle, but it is my opinion, and I wanted to share it as an option for those who are visual landscaping. All right, as you can see, this is the GardenPuzzle app. It is one word, GardenPuzzle, and we have gone into the App Store. It is an iOS only app. You can also find it on your desktop by going to the website www.gardenpuzzle.com. I'll put the link down in the description. The cost for this app is $28.99 for 6 months. And I felt like that was a pretty good price. You can find other apps, like there's iScape, but this one I felt like was just a good enough value for me. I'm not a professional landscaper or landscape designer, so I really don't need to spend the $299.99 a year that iScape was charging in order for you to use their app. So I decided to go with this one. There's some good, there's some bad. All right, so let's head over to the app and get started by uploading a picture that you have of your yard. And then it uses something what I would refer to like augmented reality or virtual reality in order to paint on top of the picture that you upload. So let's head over there now. All right, so if you're starting out, you will find a page that looks a little bit different than this one. I've already uploaded my picture here, but if you'll come right up here to new, and then you're going to go to background, and it's going to give you a plus sign on the pop-up, and you're going to hit that and then select your image wherever you have it saved at, whether it's on your desktop or in your photos file. And so I've already uploaded, like I said, this picture of our friend's yard. I did, however, go into the Photos app and I used the brown highlighter and painted the fence with my finger because they're wanting to stain their fence brown, and I wanted to give them a good idea of what that looks like. So just heads up, their fence looks a lot nicer than the one that I have here that I drew with my finger, right? So anyways, once you've got that done, I think it's great to do this process in the winter when the grass is dormant, because it really helps give you a nice blank slate. There's not anything in the way, and it gives you something to easily paint over. So next I'm going to go to over here. You have plants, structures, textures are the tabs that we're going to be focusing on today. And we're going to start with textures here. So I'm going to select that. Y'all, there are so many fun textures to choose from. Pretty much anything that could be of your liking you can find here, or something that resembles it. And I say that because if you scroll down, they are wanting to use dyed wood chips, they think, like you would get at the big box store. So they do have some different, they have wood chips over here, and they have a different variety of wood chips. So 2 wood chips, but it doesn't really give me the color that I'm looking for. So I'm going to go back up and I'm going to select this black gravel right here, because though they're not wanting gravel, when I paint it on, it's going to give the appearance or the look that they're wanting. So then you go down to the bottom and you can choose a shape or a size. You can paint or erase, and you can rotate. But we're going to be using these. The first one, I like using the circle. I'm going to use the medium circle, and I'm going to paint on it. I'm just going to go along the fence line. And what I'm doing here is I'm laying out the flower bed. So we're going to do just one arching swoop here. It's not going to be perfect. I'm going to go in close to the fence. I don't want to see any grass underneath the fence. And then I'm just going to fill in the rest of it really quick. If you need it, if you have a bigger area to fill in, of course you would want to make your circle larger. But I think that works for this one. I may go back and use the eraser, select the eraser, and just kind of clean up this edge a little bit. See how nice that turns out. And you can fiddle with it as much as your heart's desire to make it as perfect or as imperfect as you like it. All right, so once I have kind of the flower bed laid out, I'm going to come back over to my tabs and I'm going to select plants. Now, across the bottom, they have many different ways that you can search their plants. They have a large library, and you can select for their name by their Latin name or their common name, which I really love because I don't know about y'all, but I don't always know one or the other. I kind of go between both of those options. I'm going to pull up my keyboard here, and I'm going to just search cypress. She said she wanted a Colorado blue spruce, which I think is great, but those don't really grow the best here in Georgia 8B. So I think something like a cypress, if I can get it to work, would be a great alternative to something like a Colorado blue spruce because it comes in these really nice blue colors. As y'all can see here, we've got Lawson, there's some a Monterey, Goldcrest Monterey cypress, and what was the Saguaro? I'm not sure how to say that. And there's Arizona, which is a pretty common one, right? So I'm going to select, I think they had one. Yes, this one called Boulevard. I think it's going to really do well, and it's going to go in this very back corner. All right, so it's huge, right? When you upload your picture, you're going to put a perspective. Now, I set the perspective really large because if not, then they put this dotted line about halfway through your picture right here. And all of this area back here, I wouldn't have been able to put a texture or structures in. So I had to make my perspective really large to push that line farther back so that I could use this area to paint in. I'm not sure the reason and why to do that. It took me a while to figure it out. In fact, I didn't think that the app worked well at first because of it, but that was my workaround that I came up with myself. If you can find something else, hey, let us know down in the comments so that we can learn together, because I think all types of apps and computer things, they all have a little bit of a learning curve. So I just pushed the plant that I selected, and it tells you the name of the plant that you have selected. Now I can use this bar right here that pops up, and I can push the question mark again. It'll tell you all the different information about that plant, its Latin name. It's 4 feet in diameter, 8 feet tall at maturity. It requires, it looks like full sun, and gives you some details about the plant. You can also go down, and we're going to use these next, are our sizing features. So I'm just going to decrease this so that it is more the correct scale that I'm wanting for this layout. I'm going to go about right there. You know, you think of, a 6-foot fence, and we know that it gets 8 feet. So maybe I'll take it down a little bit more. Maybe we'll do something more like that. The next button there is a duplicate feature, which we will use in just a minute. And then there's a trash feature. So if you want to delete it and get rid of it and find something else because it doesn't look good in that spot. All right. The other way that you can look up plants is I'm going to come down here to this bottom one. And if I click on it, it sorts their plants by the different variants that you can choose from. I'm going to choose trees. And then I'm going to scroll down. They have osmanthus fragrance in their yard that was planted too close to the house, because I think we've all been guilty of that at one time or the other. And this is where an app like this would really be nice. Maybe it would give you that reminder to not plant something that's going to mature to a certain size in the wrong place. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go ahead and click this little question mark. So this tells you that this plant gets 9 to 16 feet tall. As y'all remember, if you've seen before, if you follow our channel, Fixin a Garden, you would see that we have a lot of tea olives or osmanthus fragrance in our house, in our yard. This one gets 9 feet to 16 feet. I think you can size control them, or that's what we do with ours. But we're going to put these on either side, course, they're huge because remember our scale is off. So I'm going to bring this down. And it's got little lines on it. I'm not sure why, but it is really nice in order to help determine where to put it at. Because here's something really neat that I love about this app. If you go, and I'm going to select that one that I just put in, the osmanthus fragrance, if I go higher with it and into the right a little bit, it's going to layer that plant for me. So if I'm trying to get it behind the cypress, do you see how the cypress on the edge is in front of the plant? But if I slide it down and away a little bit, it's going to show that this one can go in front. Isn't that cool? So you can really do a great job at layering your plants up, especially if you're wanting something like a cottage style where everything's planted really close together. It gives you some nice options. So these are going to go in front of, because they get a little bit bigger. I want it to go in front of the cypress. So I'm going to kind of play with that till I get it where I want it. And now I'm going to come over here to the edge. I'm going to duplicate it because they have two of them. And I'm going to slide it over, and we're going to use the cypress as kind of like the center point. And these tea olives are going to flank either side of it to give some really great symmetry. All right. The next thing that I want to do, she said she wanted a bench. So I'm going to go over here. If you didn't see, came over here to my tabs and I selected structures. And y'all, they have so many cool structures here. They've got gazebos and sheds, saunas. Oh, who wouldn't love to have some of these greenhouses they have? Some arbors, a birdhouse, rock landscaping, statues. They have it all kinds of fencing and trellises, even a fire pit. I'm going to show y'all that in a minute too. So let me scroll down here though. They wanted to have a bench to sit on in the back of their yard. So I'm going to come on down. And because everything is kind of dark over here, I'm actually going to choose a more natural looking brown or bench wood shade. And I'm going to drag it right here to the front. Oh, y'all know that's huge. So here we go. We're going to scale it down by clicking the minus sign. I think that would be about an accurate scale to go on either side of those. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a pot to be able to put some annuals in. All right, so here we go. We've got clay pots, a ceramic, different kinds. I'm just going to choose this plastic one. I think that's a nice resemblance to what like a concrete style pot would be. And of course it's too big. That's my fault, not the app's, because I made them big to fit with the scale. So everything's going to be a little large. I am then going to duplicate that and go to the other side. Again, we're looking at some symmetry. So if you see the tea olive isn't wanting to be the right placement. There we go. Oh, so I had to come down in front a little bit in order for it not to be that the tea olive's inside of the pot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that pot just a little bit bigger. So again, I'm not looking at so much reality at this point. I'm kind of forcing it into the perspective that I want it to be. And I may not can make it work, but y'all get the point with that. And hopefully that's not a deterrent, but maybe it is for you. That's the reason why we're showing this, right? Let me push that bench back a little bit and see if that helps. So what I'm trying to get is that pot to sit in front of the tea olive. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to happen. All right, well, hopefully y'all get the point of it. And what I'll do is I'll go in and I'm going to fix the bed. I'm going to make it a little bit larger so that I can pull that bench forward and away from that tea olive to kind of, again, force the perspective that I'm wanting it to do. I have to go back and select structures, because as long as the textures is selected, it's only going to use, you can't move the things around on the page. All right, we'll see if this works. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to put some annuals in that pot. Now, one of the annuals that I love to use is Diamond Frost Euphorbia. So we're going to go over here to plants. Now, I don't want trees anymore. Let's do annuals. Let's see if we can find that there. And we're just going to scroll down and see what they have. So I'm going to go to E for Euphorbia. See if they have any. And I don't see any there. But y'all know what? Instead of me looking a long time for this, they have baby's breath up here. I saw it when I clicked on it. And you know, baby's breath looks a lot like Diamond Frost Euphorbia to me. So I'm just going to slide that over. I selected it and just drug it across. I'm going to make it smaller because, again, the perspective's big. And then I'm going to duplicate it and put it in the other pot as well. And y'all look at there, it covered up that tea olive at the base. All right, so I'm liking the way this is looking so far. So I want to use the rest of the bed that they have here to add in perennials. So I'm going to select perennials. And one of the things that I like to do is when things are in the furthest from the door or the house, I like making those things a little bit more hardy and don't need as much maintenance. You know, because to come home, you're tired from work, to get a hose and have to drag it all over the yard is not ideal for most people. They just want to be able to enjoy and relax and enjoy the gardens that they've created. So I like to kind of put hardier things that don't need to be fussed over as much in the back. So if I'm looking at these perennials, first off, this yarrow is beautiful. As y'all know, I have yarrow in my yard. I have something very similar to this, the peach sky yarrow. This one is called Apricot Delight. Again, you know, the name of it really doesn't matter unless you're wanting to get that exact plant, but I'm wanting this color and size. Again, I can click the question mark. I can see this one gets about 2 feet or a foot and a half tall. My peach sky yarrow gets 3 feet tall. So if I put in peach sky in this yard, I can go about halfway up the fence because the fence is 6 foot. So the peach sky, I think, is supposed to get 2 to 3 feet. So I'm going to use that as my scale. I'm not going to do that again because I've already adjusted the size that I want. So I'm just going to duplicate that one. I like to plant in groups of 3 to 5. So let's make a nice little, do y'all see how it, I just love that it puts things in the right, you know, so you can layer it correctly. All right. And what I can do also, if I wanted to, I could bring that a little bit further down, but I think I'm going to leave it back there. And y'all, I'm going to duplicate this 3 more times so that I can, again, add that symmetry. And I'm just going to drag it over here to the other side. So I'm going to scoot these back again so that it looks like it's far away from the edge of the border as it is on the left. All right. The next thing, another kind of hardy plant that I can think of would be something like, oh, this sedum, this autumn stone crop that's right here. That's a really good option that would do well with a peach or an apricot colored yarrow. But since I already have that color, I think I'm going to go for something purple. I'm thinking either a salvia or maybe I saw some agastache over at the top. So let's see if they have any salvia. I'd also recommend something like catmint. That would be a really great hardy annual to go or perennial to go back there as well. So let's scroll down, see if there's some salvia. Ooh, they had the penstemon, the dark towers penstemon. That would be a good one. They have a lot of really nice options, I think. And again, like if they don't have the exact plant that you're looking for, Maybe they have something that has the similar color bloom and similar size that you could get the same idea. All right, so there's some mealy cup sage, which I think is a type of salvia here. We'll keep going down to get to the S's though, just in case they have exactly what I'm looking for. All right, here we go. They've got lots of different salvias. So let me pick, I think I may get the salvia numerosa and have it go across the front. Well, this one says it gets about 2.5 feet, so maybe it won't go all the way across the front. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that one. I think I actually want it to be a little bit more blue because of the apricot's a little warm, and so I don't want it to be too pink. I want it to be more blue. So let's see which one this one is. I'm not familiar with this variety. 1.5 feet though, I think would be really nice. So let's add that. I'm just gonna drag it across. Make it just a tiny bit smaller, and I'm gonna add 5 of those to kind of be at the front of this bed. I may do more than that. I may do 7. We'll do two rows of it. One more. Okay. I like that. So now I'm going to keep duplicating. I don't know if there's room for 7 over here because it is a shorter border on the right side. I'm going to just swing it around a little bit. And since there's some space on the left behind the salvia, I don't want to go all the way to the fence with this one, so I may just do less. We'll do one more to kind of marry it in there. All right. So I was thinking, so we have some spikes with the salvia. We've got some nice rounded tops with our yarrow. And of course, we've got the height already in the back and the structure with our evergreens. So I was thinking something soft to kind of go with we've got the annuals with the euphorbia. And I was thinking something that would be great and extend their season, like a grass of some sort. So I'm going to go ahead and select all. And then I'm going to select and see if they have any muley grass. I like muley grass because it I think it's HLY. Yeah, there we go. MUHLY. That's a really odd spelling. So I'm going to put that in there. It's kind of has the warm colors that you can find in this yarrow. And again, it's too big, so let's make it smaller. It will also extend the season because muley grass doesn't bloom until the fall, so that'll give us some fall interest. I'm going to duplicate it. Again, it'll get about 3 feet tall or so. Let's see if I can. It doesn't give you an option to rotate it, but if I could, I would rotate this a little bit, but we're not going to worry about that. It's going to look something along the lines of that. All right. Now, if I wanted to, there's a hole kind of right back here maybe, and I would put something in there. But for right now, I think I want to give this to our friends and just let them then choose if they want to add more to it. But just to have fun and play with this, I'm going to go up here to the structures and select that. And then I'm going to select if they were into like statues or something like that. That would be a good place for something like that to go. A bird bath maybe, or a fountain. A fountain would be really great so you could sit on your bench and enjoy the sound of some water, some type of water feature. But there's just so many options of what you can do in your garden and so much personal choice. I kind of like that. That really the sky's the limit as to what you decide to put back there on your layout and your design. But those are some examples of things that we can do. I said I would talk to y'all at the end about fire pit. I really like their fire pit that they have here. And these friends of ours are actually wanting to put in a fire pit. They didn't really choose this portion of their lawn to put in that fire pit, but if I show them this, they may think this is a better location. So if I take the fire pit and drag it over, y'all look how perfect that fits right there. So they may decide that they want to put it there instead of where they originally had thought. And that's what I like about an app like this, is that it allows your, since you're just playing with things and moving things around, there's no permanence to it, and it's really quick to add and subtract in items. And so you can always try it there, and if you don't like it, you can remove it. So I'm going to select it and remove it. So the last thing that you want to do is you want to be able to put in your lawn or your grass if you have that. So again, I'm going to come up here to textures and select that. And they have two different options. They have the lawn here. Of course, they have all these meadow options if you're into naturalizing your yard, but they also have the grass. And all I can tell you is the difference between the lawn and the grass is that the lawn, it looks like it's been mowed, is one of the big things, and it makes a really big difference. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to go around the edge first, and then I'm going to make my circle bigger and fill in the rest of it. So I'm just coming nicely along the edge that I already laid out. And I'm going to make my circle down here. You can size it right around here. And I'm going to select that. And then I'm just going to come in and quickly fill in the rest, going back and forth. So if you decide you want to lay in some sod, if you're doing a new house construction or something like that, that's what the sod would look like when it fills in. All right, so we're all done, and this is something that I would share with them. All right, one more thing that I want to show y'all that I think is really neat about this app. So if you come up here to this calendar that's right here, we're going to select that, and you can look at what your garden would possibly be looking like in different times of the year. Now, I will tell y'all this function is cool, but it's not a perfect function. There's definitely some adjustments they could make to it. I don't know how they would determine the different seasons. Of course, here in Georgia 8B, a lot of our flowers bloom a lot earlier than, let's say, Minnesota or Wisconsin that could still be under snow, or their spring really doesn't start until something like May, where ours is very much March, April. But it's really cool if you select then your seasons. I'm going to click through these, and you can see what would be blooming and what it would look like. So here we go in spring, and you can see your yarrow hasn't bloomed yet, your salvia hasn't bloomed yet, your muley grasses don't have any color on them, and then your baby's breath here, or your yarrow or your euphorbia, doesn't have any color on it. So then you can go to summer and everything's got color. But for us, our muley grass doesn't bloom until really late in the season, August, September, October, somewhere very late, probably more like September, October. So this doesn't give a perfect example of what that would look like. But if you have some plants, oh, and see, it showed that the muley grass went away in autumn, and that's not the case for us. I don't know about where you're at. And then in the winter, everything's gone except for your structure that you've put in. So it can show you where you may want to add a little bit of evergreen interest. If you don't like the idea of your yard looking this bare in the winter, it gives you a great just perspective of things that sometimes we don't think about when we're at our garden centers in the summer and everything looks great and you grab a little bit of all of it. But when you realize come wintertime that everything that you grabbed was a perennial, which means nothing's really going to have any structure come wintertime, you may want to rethink that. So I love that they have added that feature to this app. So there we have it. This is what the GardenPuzzle app does and some of the things it can do. There's so much more that it can do. And like I said, a lot. You can do a whole lot with these textures, put in pathways, walkways, what have you. But this is what we have to show our friends, and they can get a good idea of, oh, I really do like that bench, or no, I don't, or I'd like one to match the fence because it stands out too much. Whatever it is that they need to do, this app has lots and lots of bugs, y'all. I've tried it on the regular. This video was actually supposed to have come out a couple of weeks ago, but when I got the app out to try to record this video to show y'all what all it could do, it was not cooperating at all, and it was crashing and having some issues. So I think you do need to be able to take that into consideration. You may not find that that's worth $30 for 6 months if it's going to behave that way and create too much frustration for you. But if not, and you feel like you can deal with that and can just keep trying and it's worth it, then I would give it a go. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. We'd love for you to follow along as we use some of these tools in order to incorporate them into our yard. And if you'll stay tuned, that's exactly what we'll be doing next time, is that we're going to be doing a bed extension, and I use this app, and we're going to show you what we are going to do with the app, and then we're going to start putting it into motion. So I hope that you'll stay tuned for that, and I hope that you'll subscribe and join us on this journey. And we'll see y'all real soon.